Yeah. Try to beat you up. Come downstairs. You know you in front of the courthouse trying to act like you're tough. Like, yeah, stop. Yeah, let's go around the corner. Let's go around the corner. Come on, let's go. Stay to beat you up. Turn around. Like your mother's ugly? Turn around. Like your mother's ugly? Oh, okay. Same thing. Oh, okay. Just watch. Yeah, okay. We could test her right now. Right now. Right now, ugly. Everything. Oh, you thought you was gonna see something ugly, bitch. You wasn't. But you wasn't. But you wasn't. No makeup. But you wasn't. Same here. You see what's up? Same here. You see what's up? Oh, okay.
What if the person you put your trust in the most ended up being the one pulling the trigger on your darkest secrets? That's exactly where Remy Ma finds herself right now. Her husband, Papoose, sat in the courtroom and spoke against her. The look on her face said it all. Shock, hurt, the kind of pain that hits you in the gut and echoes through an entire room. No one saw this coming. Fans, family, even the defense team were rocked. And suddenly, a love story that inspired millions is unraveling under its own weight. From the moment Papoose stood to testify, the whole courtroom went silent. Remy, usually so composed and unshakable, crumbled before our eyes. She broke down, shoulders shaking, breath trembling, tears streaming. A moment so raw, it felt like you could reach out and touch her pain. Really, who could have predicted that the man who swore to hold it down would be the same man holding the only key to her freedom? Let's hit rewind. For years, Remy Ma and Papoose showed us what loyalty looked like. When Remy served time, Papoose stepped up, raising her son, championing her career, even turning down major gigs just to stay by her side. That level of dedication became part of her legacy. Fans called them hip-hop royalty and saw their bond as unbreakable. But now a sudden betrayal stands exposed. The same man who stood behind her mic now stands across it, ready to testify under oath. Papoose took a deep breath, leaned in, and spoke. His words shook the room. He said things no one expected: confession of behind-the-scenes arguments, secret bank withdrawals, pressure to hide the truth. But the moment Remy grasped the gravity of his testimony, that's when everything shifted. Her face went pale. You could see the weight of the accusation crash down on her like a ton of bricks. Imagine hearing the person you love unravel your reputation piece by piece. "I can't lie under oath," Papoose said. It wasn't just shocking, it was brutal. No spin, no stagecraft. When you're ride or die. Suddenly, fans started replaying every moment of their relationship. They remembered how Papoose married her behind bars, how he stayed silent amid the noise, how he defended her so fiercely that it bordered on worship. But now the narrative flipped. Instead of ride or die, Papoose looked like the prosecutor and Remy, the one being prosecuted, not just legally, but morally, emotionally. You could feel the shift in tone. The prosecution, sensing their dagger had slipped in, watched smugly. Even the judge paused to glance at Remy, then at Papoose, as if unsure who was more capable of a lie. Meanwhile, Remy's defense team looked rattled, papers shuffled, whispered words passed, eyes darting. There was no going back now. In a single moment, life as they knew it was unraveling. Courtroom watchers pointed out the collapse of expectations. Some noted Remy's trembling and how she wiped her face in full view. Others caught the moment her defense attorney put an arm around her shoulder, a move more comforting than professional. Legal experts started whispering, when loyalty dies in court, reputations follow. And Remy's might never recover. Let's break down what Papoose actually said. Nothing was trivial. He talked about their marital roller coaster, financial stress when her career took hits, even nights Remy wouldn't come home. That crossed a line. He talked about her son asking tough questions, how she rushed to cover tracks. When he repeated her own words, "I protected you for years, but I can't lie for you now," he emotionally punched through the courtroom. That kind of raw truth reverberates harder than any rap verse. To the men watching, this story cuts deeper than gossip. It's a reminder that sometimes integrity weighs more than loyalty. It's about the moment you gotta choose. Do I bury the truth to protect? Or do I stand up and face the fallout, even if it hits the person I love? For many viewers, this moment resonates on a personal level. Loyalty tested, reputation damaged. No wonder social media erupted. Hashtag Remy Ma breakdown trended. Clips of her crying girlfriend style flooded timelines. Some fans pleaded for her side of the story, others cheered Papoose for being honest. Online forums lit up with debate: betrayal or bravery, love or legal duty. Even the family backstage is melting down. Sources spill that Papoose's side are shocked, even proud that he spoke his conscience. Meanwhile, Remy's family and crew are in disbelief. Did he have to go this far? Everyone is questioning whether he crossed a line or finally drew a line in the sand. And what does that mean for both of them, personally and professionally? We're only seeing the beginning, folks. What happens next won't just tell us about the verdict, it'll define who they are after the verdict. Papoose could be seen as the man who did what he had to do, or he might be branded a sellout. Remy could bounce back as the strongest rap queen ever, or her legacy could be shattered. That's the real tug-of-war. Public judgment meets personal ruin. And in the center of it all is a relationship once built on trust, now exposed in front of millions. So questions flood in. Will Remy fight back? Will her defense team reshape the narrative? Can she find the strength to rise again? Or is this the beginning of the end? What you just heard isn't a script, it's real life made messy. And it's only the tip of the iceberg. Stay right where you are, because in the next section, we dive into how their history got so explosive, the whispers we never heard before, and how this courtroom moment might echo in hip-hop forever. Nobody expected this day to come. Not Remy Ma, not Papoose, and certainly not the fans who had looked up to their love story for years. But the courtroom was filled with silence, so heavy you could feel it pressing down on your chest. And right in the middle of that silence, Remy Ma sat frozen, eyes wide, lips trembling as Papoose walked toward the witness stand. She didn't blink. She didn't move. People had heard rumors for months. Quiet whispers about things falling apart behind closed doors, but no one really believed them. After everything they'd been through, the prison sentence, the loyalty, the rap battles, the interviews where they praised each other like soulmates, how could this end up in court? Not just any court, but a courtroom filled with tension, secrets, and betrayal. This wasn't about money. This wasn't about fame. This was about something deeper, something darker. And when Papoose opened his mouth to testify, the truth started to unravel like a tightly wound thread coming undone. Remy tried to hold it together, but you could see the pain all over her face. Her jaw clenched. Her hands gripped the edges of the table. Her eyes were glassy. People in the courtroom said she looked like she'd been crying all night, her makeup barely hiding the exhaustion under her eyes. And the moment Papoose said her name, softly, carefully, like it hurt him, she broke. A single tear ran down her cheek, and she didn't bother to wipe it away. What made it worse was the history they shared. This wasn't some fling or short-lived romance. This was a relationship built on struggle and survival. Papoose had stood by her through the worst years of her life, visiting her in prison, raising their family, defending her name every time someone tried to drag her in public. He was her shield, her peace. So when he sat in that chair and started revealing things even her closest friends didn't know, it wasn't just a betrayal, it was a collapse of everything they had built. People online couldn't believe what they were hearing. Some fans were in complete denial, saying there had to be a mistake, that maybe Papoose was being forced to testify or manipulated into speaking out. Others started pulling up old interviews and footage, trying to connect dots they hadn't noticed before. Some swore they always knew something was off. That Remy had changed. That Papoose wasn't smiling the way H. Remy couldn't take it. Her legal team tried to intervene, asking the judge to pause the testimony, but the judge allowed it to continue. That's when things really spiraled. Remy buried her face in her hands. She started to sob, quietly at first, then uncontrollably. The judge called for order in the courtroom, but no one could ignore the fact that this was no longer just a case. It was a tragedy playing out in real time. Reporters outside the courthouse captured every second. Fans stood behind barricades, shouting her name, holding signs that said "Free Remy" and "Papoose don't fold." But inside that room, the damage was already done. The love story that inspired so many people had shattered right in front of them. Not because of fame, not because of the media, but because sometimes, Even the strongest love can't survive everything. Social media went wild. Within minutes of Papoose's testimony, clips started circulating online. People reposted old videos of the couple at award shows, walking red carpets, smiling like nothing in the world could break them. Side by side with the courtroom footage, it hit fans like a punch in the stomach. "How did we get here?" one person commented. Another said, "This is why I don't believe in love anymore." And yet, in the middle of all the chaos, some fans were still holding on to hope, saying maybe this was just a misunderstanding. Maybe they would find their way back, but deep down, most people knew.
Like, miss, where's your remorse? Like, where's your sorriness? Where's your sadness? Like, at the end of the day, I don't care what I go through with nobody. I would never want to see nobody die. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Like, bitch, nobody did nothing to you, you fucking gremlin. And you really acting like you mad about something. Ice grilling somebody. Ugly ass. Then you acting tough in front of a courthouse. Like, bitch, we're gonna go to jail. You've been to jail before. I'm sure you don't want to go back, bitch. Like, what are we doing here? Come around the corner. You're really not fucking tough. Like, bitch is mad pussy. Like...
This wasn't a rumor anymore. It wasn't drama for the blogs. It was real, raw, painful. And Remy Ma, the same woman who had battled through the music industry, survived prison, built a brand, raised her family, was now crumbling because the one man she thought would never hurt her had done just that in public. Under oath. It didn't matter how the case ended. Win or lose, guilty or not, something had already been lost. Trust, loyalty, love. And in that courtroom, with everyone watching, Remy Ma wasn't a rapper. She wasn't a celebrity. She